First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. A nice, warm spring morning. Oh, no, that was the last time I talked. Okay. I want to welcome you to the Business Club of Overland Park. Those of you that are guests here from AUSA and things are as you look around you, you see a private business club where we're dedicated to our membership to help them grow and prosper in their businesses. So we have the general meeting area. It's set up on a coffee shop type basis, you see, with the kitchen back there where we can do several things. We have a little library in here. The books in the library are actually like a share bookstore. So we have people bring in books, leave them, people take them out, do everything like that. A lot of them are business related. So we have the little library for a meeting place. We have the boardroom on the other side. It'll sit 20 people around the table. We have a 60-inch TV in there. It's all pretty much hooked up for modern electronics. My Mac is so old it doesn't have modern electronics, so I'm hardwired into the system. So I guess the music was good when we were getting going. There we go. I don't have to talk so loud. But anyway, I'd like to introduce you to Martin Hess. Martin's the general manager of the club, and anybody has any questions or anything like that, or what and how we do, you can ask him or me, either one. I'm the director of training and development for the club. I had a company called Biz to Biz Connect also that I do speaking engagements and different things like that on the art of networking and training in that area. A little bit of my history was I spent 26 years in the food business, selling like a Cisco. Most everybody knows Cisco. Oh, I'm so old that I was in the business before there was a Cisco. I watched that whole phenomenon happen. And after 26 years, I got out. I actually was living down in Fort Lauderdale, got in business with a friend of mine in the advertising business, and he said, "Hey, we belong to the Chamber of Commerce." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "I don't know, but she used to go to it all the time, had meetings, everything else." So I got really involved in the Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce, and a twist of fate, I actually ended up going on staff with them. I actually was in recruitment. I went out and helped members find out about things and get involved. And in doing that, most small businesses join a Chamber of Commerce so they can have the opportunity to network. They don't have the big budgets that the big banks do to do the advertising, so they got to get out and they got to do it themselves. The problem was, I found out, is nobody really understood how to do that, and especially talented salespeople. Because when they walk into a room full of people, they're like a hunter. And they've got this 12-gauge shotgun down alongside themselves, and then when they meet somebody, they whip that thing up and they suck a shell into it. I don't know how many of you, when you see that, are real forward and stay there. Most people shrink away from that. So if you go into a networking thing to sell something, you're just in the wrong mode. What you do is, I talk about in a little thing I kind of relate it to, is networking is like farming. So you're not a hunter, you're Johnny Appleseed. And when you go into a networking event, you got this bag of seeds, you know, and you're throwing them out and you're meeting everybody. Now, what does Johnny Appleseed have to do with those seeds after they're in the ground? Well, you have to nurture them, right? You have to water them. Maybe you have to prune them, things like that. That's networking. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a process, and there is an art to it, and that's what you're here for me to kind of guide you through. Many things I tell you today, you're going to know. Do you use them maybe? I mean, we all have things that we do that maybe we do by accident or we just kind of go through the motions. What I've found, there is a process. And if you follow the process and you do that, your ROI on your investment will be much better. You know, chambers of commerce are $300, $400 a year. Other networking are $450. Private clubs run monthly dues depending on what level you're at. That's the smallest contribution you'll make to your time networking. Your time networking is your personal time. I don't know, look around this room, what you all value your hourly rate at, and you might not even charge an hourly rate, but somewhere in your mind, you've got to have this thing that, well, if I'm going to go do something, it's $50 an hour, $100 an hour. If you're an attorney, it's $300 an hour. Oh, sorry, Kim. And so Anyway, but that's your real investment. If you're going to go out and you're going to network, why not make it work? I have had so many people I talk to. Oh, I've had a company for a long time. I've had salespeople. They go out, all they do is drink coffee. They never bring back any business. Well, not if you don't work it. You know, you really have to work it. So here's where we are. The art of networking. And we start out with, what is networking? I just looked this up. The top one is actually the oh, by the way, I meant to say, everybody's got a little welcome packet there. There's 3 white papers underneath that you can take with you, and the last 2 pages are for notes. If you didn't happen to bring paper to write notes on, hope everybody's got a pencil or a pen that brought with them. We do have some in the back if you don't. But anyway, networking, a group of people who exchange information, contacts, experience for professional and social purposes. I always kind of say social purposes. You know, that's one of my greatest benefits I get from networking is the friendships that I develop. You know, over the years I've been doing this, my friendship base has expanded into extraordinary areas, and lots of those friends make me benefits way beyond money that I can make. So, you know, that's what the social period. And then I got this out of a networking article. Networking is everything. It helps chances of employment, increases your contacts, and help improve your business. I like to throw in, and your life, okay? Because it truly can change your life. If your business increases and you have a little bit more money and do things, you can actually do things a little bit better. You know, you have a little bit more freedom. I have found that in the 7 or 8 years I've been networking in this Kansas City area that I really don't have to pay retail for much of anything. You know, I've got people I can call and they know who I am and they want to take care of me and use their services, so they usually give me a discount just so I can tell people how great they are, you know? So that kind of a thing can help you as you go along in your business. If you have to buy things in your business, you have to get services in your business, you're meeting people all the time that can help you, okay? So that's really where that comes down to, and out and doing your thing. In the beginning, there's a thing called an elevator pitch. Anybody ever heard of that before? Know why they call it an elevator pitch? Mike, why do they call it an elevator pitch?
You should start and end it in the time it takes your elevator to go for.
Exactly. You know, the one thing about networking is you don't want to, when you meet somebody, and I talk about this all the time, everybody, I see so many people, they go out, they're regular networkers, and I ask them, what do you do? Well, let's see, I do this, and 10 minutes later, I'm standing there and they're still trying to tell me what they did. And sometimes haven't really even touched on what they do. Okay, so your 30-second elevator pitch should be informational. You should have to work on it. You should think you are marketing your business when you go out there. Okay? Would you put an ad in a Yellow Pages or in a chamber directory or something like that without sitting down, thinking about it, writing it, changing it up, putting the picture in the right place? Do that before you put that ad out? Why would you go to a networking event and not know what you're going to say when you're asked, what do you do? Why would you go to a party? How many ever been to just a party? Do you ever hear, what do you do? Anybody ever gone to a wedding and at the reception afterwards and you're all running around drinking and the bride's dancing and now they all get in their thing and do a whole Broadway thing anymore, but when you're just doing the thing, do you have anybody ever ask you, what do you do? Well, you don't want to bore them. You don't want to just overload them. You want to say something that makes them think about what you do. And actually, the best way you can do that is that you can look to try to get a response. How do you do that? So that's why you really don't want to take them every little inch of the way down through your 40 years of selling food. You want to just kind of tell them the little bit of thing, and hopefully they'll say, well, how do you do that? If they stand there and look at you like deer in headlights, you probably don't have an ideal client in front of you, right? But if whatever you said triggered them and you could see them go, and they come back to, well, how did you do that? Then you've succeeded in your elevator pitch. Because not only are you able to go along with people, but then you're able to, well, this person probably isn't good, very nice to meet you, and you move on. You know, you're in a room, hopefully, we've got some 25 people here today. There's probably people in here that could use each other's services and stuff, but you won't know that if you don't really spend the time working the room. The other thing is, a lot of people during that self-introduction do get that person says, well, how you do that? And then they latch on to them and they, I got a hot one. So before I'm done with this person, this next 2 hours, they're going to be buying. Well, they might be a little buyer and your big buyer was on the other side of the room. So you really want to, hey, you know, we got to get together. The networking event itself is where you meet people. I'll talk more about the one-on-one. That's when you start the process of building relationships. So, on the back page, there's 2 blank pages. I want everybody to take about, 10 minutes here. I want you to write your 30-second elevator pitch. Now, that's about 50 words we've come up with. Something like, isn't that about right, Tim? Something 50 words or so?
50 to 75.
50 to 75 words. Some people don't really realize that. And all I'm asking, you're not going to get this finished. My 30-second elevator pitch is on 5 pages of legal pad. Okay, the first one, the scratches out, so many scratches out, I had to write a second one, so many scratches out. So you're not going to get to that point. But what I'm going to try to get you to do is start the process. Write down what you would do in a 30-second elevator pitch, and then in a minute we're all going to get to share those. And that way people will know who you are and what you do. So go ahead and take a little bit of time and do that. Yes?
So what you're saying is it's more like a teaser. We don't need to explain everything we do in 30 seconds. It's a teaser to get them to want to know more information.
Well, yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Good morning, everybody. My name's Bob Young. I'm with the American Club Association Business, Overland Park Business Club. Business Club Overland Park, thank you. What we do is we help our members grow and prosper in their businesses. We do that with 3 focuses. Number 1, personal development. Number 2, marketing their business. And number 3, developing relationships in their business community. Okay? So if somebody's interested in that, interested in building relationships, interested in personal development, they might ask me, Bob, how do you do that? Then I can tell them, well, we're a private club, we have different chapters, we have different types of business development teams, we have associations that are common interest associations, and then I go into that. If they don't care that I actually have a private club that helps people out, they're probably not going to ask me that. So that gives you kind of an idea. I didn't say anything about what we do, just kind of who we are, and a few taglines that might draw some interest. So go ahead and help yourselves out. Now as you're writing this, I'll just kind of fill you in a little bit. A lot of people think that this 30-second elevator pitch is for when you go to a networking event. Many networking events, as you're going to do, get to introduce yourselves to the crowd. And many people in that crowd don't pay attention to when they tell you got 30 seconds. Everybody kind of thinks, well, if I give them a little bit more information, if I just let them know. Well, if you're in a crowd of professional networkers, once you go over that 30 seconds and you start going blah, 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 that's exactly what they hear. Blah, blah, blah. You're taking away from their time of networking. You're being inconsiderate. So if you think those types of feelings that you're putting out there are helping you, you're mistaken. Okay? In networking, less is more. And when I say you have 30 seconds, it doesn't have to be 30 seconds. You should actually have more than one. You should have your primary one, but if you go to a regular networking thing all the time, they'll get a little bored to hear you say the same thing all the time. So sometimes if I'm going and actually I see some people that are actually taking a lot of time and we're running the introductions over, I'll say, hi, my name is Bob Young. I'm with the Business Club Overland Park, and what we do is help people grow their business exponentially. Does anybody know what that means? I don't know. It just sounded good, you know? But just simple, you know, it's just real quick and to the point, you know? And I'll have 4 or 5 of those tucked away and doing different things when I go to different meetings. If I go to one, it's the first time all the time, you'll hear the one that I kind of go through what I told you a little bit ago. How's everybody doing? Anybody done? Okay, we'll give you a little bit more time. It's only been 5 minutes, I said I'd give you about 10. But actually where I was going with that, what's your elevator pitch is when you're out amongst people networking. Because you do have only a certain amount of time, and if you're cruising around through the room and when they're standing there with you one-on-one, they ask you, what do you do? Just adds to your professionalism when you're articulate with when you state that. Yeah, Steve.
Coincidentally, I was in a meeting last night, and it was just about networking, and there was a gentleman who does this throughout the country, and it was for a nonprofit group. And he was, I think, right at 40 or so, you know, pretty young. But he said, which struck me real quick, the average attention span of a person is 8 seconds.
Well,
And I mean, it's, you know, historical, statistical, you know, it's basically 8 seconds. And they said, you have to do something different. You know, we can't run business the way we used to. We can't do things the way, you know, we used to. What can you say in those 8 seconds that will grab somebody who will want to learn more?
that goes along a little bit. Michael Blanchard did a little lunch and learn here. I say Michael's a web designer and Facebook type social media expert. And he said something yesterday I could not believe, and goes along with this. On your website, they've done a lot of things thinking about, you know, studies of what goes on. They say that when somebody lands on your website, you have 1/2 of a second to make an impression. That impression stays with them. Even if they stay on your website and go into it and start looking at everything, that 1/2 second impression will be in their mind when they get off your website. So that you have that much time. We've gone to such a visual, fast-paced thing, and when they get there, boy, you need to say, and that's off of this side, that kind of goes along. People's attention spans now, you want to hit them between the eyes, you want to get their attention, and then you want to go with that. So, all righty. Everybody ready? Anybody, who wants to come up here first with me and tell everybody who you are and what you do? Good, Bruce, thanks. That'll teach us sitting in the front of the room.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bruce Ives. Most recently, I've been running project management and customer care for a software company in the petroleum industry. What I'm really good at is working with people at all levels of an organization, getting their requirements, and turning that into technological solutions for them to advance their business.
Very good. Very good. Laura, you want to come up?
I'm Laura Shipman with Health Markets, and I'm in Overland Park. And what I do is I offer corporate-style benefits to individuals and small businesses.
All right. Steve.
That's hard to follow.
That's it.
I'm Steve Greenberg, and I was working in the corporate world 60, 70 hours a week, not living the life that I'd wanted. I kept saying I wasn't put on this earth to push rug. Found Advocare, and now I help people empower and help them live the lives that they want through energy, overall wellness, sports performance, and weight management. And the thing that I love doing is to help people live a better life, whether it be through health or earning extra income.
It was right on 30 seconds, Steve. That was good. Mary?
My name is Mary Jones. I'm a district manager with Primerica Financial Services. I help locate and develop individuals to help them with the education that they need to help them generate financial independence.
Very good. Taylor?
Good morning, I'm Taylor Pruitt. I'm about to retire from the FAA as an operations manager. I'm taking the 20-plus years of experience of management in the government and my love of sports and developing a personal coaching program and develop personal development for guys based upon the sports message of the successful coaches and athletes and the core principles they all use to be successful.
Well, thanks, Taylor. Hey, Ron.
Good morning, I'm Robin Schofield. I'm Chief Encouragement Officer at Image Evolution, and I build confidence by helping provide personal branding tools for people so that they can reach their personal and professional goals more quickly.
Thank you, Robin. Mike?
Morning, I'm Mike Vestasparis. I'm currently an Army officer providing IT customer support. I enjoy helping people use technology to solve their problems and do their jobs better. And that's as far as I've gotten.
Well, that's good. That was a good start, Mike. Nothing wrong. And that's just good. The thing is, all right, Alan. Alan said it. I'm sorry.
Bring my paper here, 'cause I'm a newbie here.
Well, that's right.
So, good morning, I'm Arlen Sheets, Army veteran, and I currently work at a company called Talos ATM, where we provide navigational surveillance systems to the FAA and various DoDs throughout the world. I'm also an aspiring entrepreneur, and I'm looking at, I'm in the early stages of developing a side business to focus on the outdoors, training, adventure, and potentially some products around those services.
Very good, Ryan. Kyle?
Hi, I'm Kyle Burns. I'm the Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Overland Park. What I do is I take a 30,000-foot view look at natural and man-made disasters and situations that can happen and impact our city.
Very good.
Good morning, my name is Todd Gordon, independent member of Life Leadership. I specialize in personal and leadership development through self-directed education, primarily housed and distributed through CDs, books, CDs, DVDs, and live events. I believe that leadership starts at home, so I'm working from the kitchen table to the Oval Office. Haven't got invited there, but I'm working on it.
Working on it. All righty. All righty.
I'm Emma Toops. My business is Toops Consulting. The Toops Consulting team comprises of me and my husband, David. I specifically facilitate greater understanding and access to opportunity for veterans who are transitioning into a civilian career. I do this by consulting the civilians who are in the hiring process as far as being talent acquisition and or recruiters to help them better understand veteran talent. I coach and mentor transitioning warriors so that they can understand a little bit better of the civilian culture that they're about to enter. And I connect the two when I recognize the opportunity of their connection.
Very good, Emma. Elliot.
I'm going to bring my paper out because I've changed it around a little bit.
Well, good, good, Elliot. We like change.
Hi, I'm Elliot from Roses Only. We carry 55 different colors and a variety of roses, starting at $10 a dozen. We are true relationship builders. What says thank you or you're special than roses from Roses Only?
That was good.
I read a second one that, later on, I thought it's more toward business owners and stuff like that. So.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, it would go the same way, and it'd say, business owners, let me show you how to improve your client relations with our quality floral arrangements, delivered on time and within budget.
Very good, very good.
Thank you for letting me do that.
Good morning. My name is Carl Little. For the last 33 years, I've been in the office equipment business, and I have recently retired. I've started and sold 4 companies in the last 33 years, and I would like to find another company that I could help grow and then help them sell their company.
Hi, my name is Rick Mann. Passion, concierge service, problem solving. These are things you'll think of as you work with me to help you refinance and find financing for a loan for a home, or refinancing or purchasing a home. The skills, having been a tax person, financial planner, and a mortgage consultant for 33 years, helps me with those skills.
Very good. Kenneth.
Good morning. My name is Ken McRae, and I help people that are facing what may be the biggest crisis of their lives, divorce. I focus on solving problems rather than picking fights. I try and help my clients find a way to a better tomorrow. I work on a fixed fee basis so they don't have to worry about that hourly fee. And I truly believe that divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Ken McRae, attorney.
Mike?
Good morning. My name is Mike Silva. I have a multifunctional business background and experience, and I'm currently helping companies improve their profits by working with them to solve the problems that are either preventing their increased growth or the problems that are costing them more than they should.
All righty. Well, thank you, everybody. Tim, do you want to? No. Okay, he's doing the video. Everybody, Tim Anderson with R2 Video Productions. He is our videographer for the club. We have video business cards that we do. If you all notice when you leave in there, we have a really pretty green wall. That's actually a green screen, so we can do things in there, and Tim takes care of all that for us. So anyway, now I want everybody to look at their things they wrote down, their elevator pitch, and circle how many times the word I is in there. You don't have to answer to this or anything, but just in that, when you're networking, it isn't all about you. So sometimes I do this, I've done that, I've been here, I've done that. You know, if you can, drop that out of there. You'll notice when I said there wasn't one time I said the word I. You know, my name's Bob Young. I'm with the business club, or I didn't even say I say I'm Bob Young with the business club of Overland Park. Just keeps that flowing, keeps it a general thing. So while you're working on this, and I know all of you are going to go home and spend all weekend working on these, so you go out next week and you're ready to go, right? So anyway, but I want to thank everybody for taking your time coming up here in front and talking to everybody. Not everybody is like me that kind of gets energized and get in front of a bunch of people. I saw something one time, they said speaking in public is only next to death for some people. So I appreciate all of you come up. And the one thing I did, would all our veterans stand up that we have here? These guys I met when I went with Emma. You know, we have American Warriors here at the club. You do not have to be American Warrior to be part of the club. You have to care about American Warrior. You have to care that they're having trouble. You have to care that the fact that when I work with City Union Mission down there, a huge percentage of that is veterans. That's a crime. I'm sorry, that's a crime. If we can all get up, we can all clap at meetings, and we can all do things, but if you're not trying to do something to help veterans out in a little way, then you're missing the boat. We owe so much right now, and what's going on is only going to get worse before it gets better. So when you see veterans, when you do things, thank them. You know, do that. But also think about some way you can help. If there's a food drive, there's something going on, or some veteran organization, and you see something on the news, if you're one to write your congressman or something, they should come back. They should have the finest care that we as a country can give them. So that's enough of my soapbox, but I just
met Mike this morning, but Mike spent 33 years serving our country and retired as a
Brigadier General, yes. Yes. So that's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. Okay, well, we're past the beginning. These are the few things I told you about. Should be curiosity, engage people. You should have more than one, and they should be practiced and rehearsed. Most of you, I think, have probably a full-length mirror in your house. If you have that, stand in front of it and talk about it. Most of you have a recorder now in your laptop that takes videos. Get yourself down, get it prepared, and record yourself making your 30-second elevator pitch. You will see nuances, you will see things. They help you out in how you're doing that. It's just part of, you're going to be marketing yourself out there. What I'm trying to do is help you have a better ROI. So the better you do, the better you practice. You know, it's just amazing and what that is. The club that, I'm drawing blank, the Toastmasters. The biggest thing Toastmasters talks about when it's telling people about public speaking is being prepared. Most people aren't prepared, so they're scared. If you're prepared, it takes that fear away. Then you know what you're doing. You're up there, you're confident. So go through these things, practice, rehearse it, know that you're out there to market yourself if that's the way you've chosen to do it. Oh, we did that. I actually meant to show that slide before. Okay. How many of you ever said this before? I'm so bad with names. You know what the two most powerful words are in the language? I am. Whatever you follow those two words with, you are. I am terrible about remembering names. Well, yeah, you are. I am lousy at networking. Yeah, you are. I am. Whatever you are, I am, you are. It is your subconscious. I actually was going to do a thing today, and the computer's a little bit weird, so it wasn't working for me. But I have an association I did with John Ashraf and a company called One Coach, and they believe in positive affirmations. And I took that a step farther. I actually went and had a CD made of myself, giving myself positive affirmations I list to. I am a talented and creative business person. I am a master networker. I am a, I am. And you just go through these things and you just kind of tell yourself. And I was going to have everybody kind of listen to that. So, that's how we're not listening to that. I want everybody to say right now, I am a master networker.
I am a master networker.
Really?
Absolutely.
All right. All right. I am a master networker.
I am a master networker.
And when I leave this thing today, I will be better.
When I leave this thing today, I will be better.
Okay. Okay. You just take that out of your calendar. Just don't say, I'm terrible with names. We all struggle with that fact, especially when we're in a room meeting people all the time. My ex-wife and I, at one point in time, were huge party goers. We just loved party. If there was a party in town, we went to it. And we used to have a contest. We used to see who could go through the room and remember the most names. And we did that because it made it fun, and it made us think about it. They say that one of the best things you can do when you're meeting somebody is that you repeat their name and then use their name. So, Taylor,
Bob?
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Taylor, I hope you really enjoy this workshop. If you use it a couple times and do that, then they have that's the last thing there is time. Everybody loves their name. They like to be remembered. If you don't remember it, don't slink off in a corner and do that. Own up to it. Most everybody else has done that, so you know, I'm sorry, Arlen, I didn't get your name captured. Can you, what was that again? And they'll tell you again. Now, hopefully, if you go through that process, you've already embarrassed yourself by asking, telling them you didn't do it, but you did it. Try to really remember it so you don't go back to them again. Now, Arlen, I know you've told me 2 times now, but I don't remember you. Yes, Emma.
Something I want to point out with the most treasured possession, as you know, with the name, I always try to make it clear to my own understanding how a person prefers to be called, because exactly that. My husband's name is David. I call him David. A lot of people, when I introduce him, I introduce him as David, but some people automatically assume that he will go by Dave, which he will.
But he prefers David.
What he prefers is, you know, he's not as hung up on it as I am. But he was Dave or Toops for almost 20 years before, you know, I met him. So he's okay with being called Dave. But if it were me, that would annoy me.
Well, and there are things. I mean, I'm a Bob, but I'm a Robert. I mean, my formal name's Robert, and I've gone by Bob most all my life. I did try to change over to Robert when I got into the business world and was with the Chamber of Commerce down in Florida. I thought, well, I'm Robert Young. That'd be more, you know, it's a name that would be Henry. And I actually used to stand up, and on self-introductions, we had one that actually just only got to really say your name. And I'd get up and I'd say, hi, my name's Robert Young. No, not Dr. Welby. Okay? Whatever you can do for that tag, whatever you can do to bring that in, you know, and get people thinking about it. But then every time I talked to everybody, I'd say, hi, this is Bob. Hi, this is Bob. I thought it was Robert. And we had a gal in the chamber, and she actually called me one day, and I'd pick up the phone. Hi, this is Bob. Can I help you? And she goes, Bob, is it Robert or is it Bob? So I kind of explained to her. I said, well, it's always been Bob, but now I'm going to be Robert. She said, I know what we'll do. It's Bobbert. Do you know how sometimes some little quirky thing gets sticky? Well, that started to get sticky around 22 employees at the chamber until I finally went like that. I did not want to be a Bobbert.
I just think it's important to understand that, because some people, it doesn't bother them, but to some people.
Oh, I had a friend of mine, Michael. If you called him Mike, he would correct you.
Yep.
Right, he'd say, I am not a Mike. I am Michael.
And it's good to ask, and it helps you remember too.
That's true.
But to tag on to what she said, if you do ask that, if you do ask that question, it shows, even if they didn't care, it shows thoughtfulness.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what you're trying to do. So, you can also use mnemonic devices. That's when you actually have somebody you know, maybe, that's your family. Somebody tells me their name is Cindy, I go, my sister's name is Cindy. You know, so I try to use that. You know, Dale Carnegie, I went to a thing they had one time, and they had a little exercise, and they can teach somebody how to remember 100 names out in the road. The first thing you got to do is you got to remember all these weird little things. Somebody riding a horse, somebody climbing a ladder, somebody, and then when you hear their name, you picture them riding a horse. Arlen, you know how to ride a horse? There you go. So anyway, and that's how that goes. It's association of the name that will help you bring it back. I like just kind of, I do, if it's real easy, real common, I'll use the association of something, of somebody or somebody else that I know. But then also I just like trying to repeat their name, talk to them while I'm in the conversation, trying to use their name a little bit more. And all right, they categorize, that's another way. And then I mentioned fess up. You know, if you don't just fess up and say, hey, they're not going to go, well, yeah, they're actually going to remind, well, he does care. You know, she does care, really wants to know who I am and what I'm doing. So.
From your opinion, from the reverse side, you know, I got Mike's card earlier here, and it's got a great picture. And I'm a face person. I can remember faces. You know, I not remember exactly where I met Mike here. I was thinking it was here versus the breakfast at AUSA, but you know, the visual is what reminds me versus if I get a card with just the name and the title. I always write notes in the back when I get an opportunity. That's another way I do it, but what is your thoughts on having your picture on a business card, if you can, obviously?
Well, it's another step forward. You know, there's some industries like realtors and things that really believe in that and put it on there. I've never been a big fan for the picture on the card, but it does help if somebody's going through a stack of cards and you come across that and they've got their picture on it and go, oh yeah, and you can kind of bring back that help. So it's just your personal taste, how much you want to say on your business card. A good point is, if you do business cards, and believe me, business cards are important, okay? That's your presentation. In the Far East, they don't just hand you a business card if you're over there. In the Far East, they take their business card, they put it in both hands, and they present it to you. That's how important it is over there. So you are giving somebody yourself. You're giving, that's another marketing piece. You're telling somebody who you are. Look, this is who I am. So if you go home and you just print off something on your computer and it says your name and what you're doing, that tells them a lot. You know, that doesn't mean you have to go spend $1 billion making some unbelievable fold card and all that kind of stuff. But in your card, think about it, there's an awful lot of people that like to write a note on the back. If you're going to do glossy card, you can do it glossy on the back or on the front. And even with me on mine, I have a little bit on the back, but I have a space I purposely left for people to be able to write a note on to help remember me. That's what I'm trying to do. I want them to remember me, you know, when I'm out there and do that. So if they need to write a little note, by all means, do that. So,
in addition to that, I put notes on business cards too, and sometimes, excuse me, I come up with a name that I can't pronounce. So I ask them, how do you say your name, for sure? And then I'll rewrite it on how it would sound if I really wrote it out, like Jeannie. You know, I've got that messed up a couple of times, so I write down exactly the way it sounds to me when I say it, so it helps.
absolutely.
It may not be spelled right, but it verbally.
But verbally, that's what you want to do. So don't anybody look at the door. We have somebody sneaking out.
Sorry, this is
No.
really fascinating.
Okay, well, thanks for stopping by, and Taylor, you just fill her in on what she missed, all right? All right, so now this, I've argued with myself several times to whether or not to start the workshop with this. But I've kind of left it in here so we can kind of warm up to the idea. But if you don't have the right attitude, stay home. Don't go out. And I'm serious. If you go into a networking thing, if you're not, people ask me how I'm doing, I'm fantastic. One of the most people, Gail, at Gail's Harley Davidson, if any of you know her, she does public speaking, she does one of the most positive people in the world. Her word is fabulous. That's as little as you'll ever get out of her when you ask her how you're doing. Because when people ask you how you're doing, you know that's a rhetorical question, don't you? They really don't know. They really, really don't want to know. Okay? It's just something our society has told us to ask people. So when people ask you how you're doing, and you look at them and you go, oh, I need to talk to Ken McCrae. My wife just kicked me out of the house this morning. I got 4 kids. I'm living in my car now. Oh, really?
Positive to me, Bob.
Positive. It's positive. So anyway, but be positive, be energetic. You know, when I was in sales, I hated the cold call. I really realized that over my whole sales career, I really just went in and built relationships. I didn't do very much cold calling, you know. But when you go in, you have to be that positive person, you know. So what I would do is I'd pull up in front of somebody, and everybody's got a mirror. Most of us got mirrors on the back of our sun visors now and everything. I'd flip that thing down and say, going in here, you're going to do them a favor. If they end up talking to you, learning about what you do, you're going to do them a favor. If they end up buying from you and doing business with you, you're going to do them a favor because you're the best. There's nobody out there that does it like I do it. So I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to introduce myself, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to have the best sales rep, the best vendor that they've ever had walk in their door. And then when I go in, they tell me, get out! I say, good. And I go down to the next one, because there's 1 in 10 sales calls that tells you. But it's all about positive attitude. That's where I was going with that. It's positive attitude. So If you just can't drag yourself out, you can't pull up your bootstraps and go in there, you're really going to be detrimental to your service and your being for going in there and trying to do something with everybody. So just keep that, yes I can and yes I am. That's just so powerful. The other thing is planning. Most people show up to a networking event. Well, I'm going to go to a networking event today. I'm probably going to meet somebody, I hope. And I'll go in and, gosh, I'll see Mike over here, and I'll go over. I know Mike. I've met Mike. You know, so I'm going to go over by Mike because I know Mike. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to stand and I'm going to talk to Mike. And we're going to talk. And gosh, that's comfortable. So we're going to talk. And look at all those people I don't know. But I know Mike. I'm so comfortable talking to Mike. We both enjoy the same things, you know, we're kind of doing that kind of stuff. So that's not a plan. A plan is, and I'll tell you, I'm going to throw a name out here, and all my networking here, there's one young man that I met, and I came across some pictures the other day. His hair's real long, he's wearing shorts and all that, is TJ Solander. Some of you might know TJ. TJ is probably one of the most organized people there is, one of the best planners. He goes to every meeting with the goal to meet 3 new people. The goal to set up 2 one-on-one meetings. The goal to talk to 2 people he knows and continue to work on the relationship. You won't see TJ standing in a corner talking to the people, and he's out all over the Johnson County and talking to all the people he knows. He's there to meet new people and start the process of building a relationship. So he goes in with a plan. He goes in with goals. They set down. And different ones will be there. I network so much that sometimes I just go, I'm going in to have fun. If somebody trips me and wants my card, I'll give it to them. But I'm in to meet the people that I know, to continue to build the relationships, have a good time, mostly in a business after hours, and have another scotch. You know, that's my goal, because I'm just wanting to shut down for a little bit, and I don't do it. Now, if somebody comes up and says, hey, this is Bob with Biz2Biz Connect, or this is Bob with the Business Club Overland Park, or something you really need to get together, oh, absolutely, I'm going to get into the mode, I'm going to talk to them. But most of the time when I go in with a dedicated plan of what I'm going to do. And again, I'm going to reiterate this, the networking event is where you meet people. The one-on-one is where you start the process of getting to know them better. A one-on-one is not a selling opportunity. Now I'm getting ahead of myself on all kinds of things. But that is, I call it attend the meeting on purpose. You just didn't show up. You went there to help build your business. You went there to meet new friends, you know, so go there. Have a purpose when you do it. Goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time limited. So you don't want to set yourself up a goal and say, well, I'm going to go in and there's going to be 100 people there, so I'm going to meet 50 people. A little bit ridiculous. Go in with that. And when I talk about a networking meeting of 100 people or so, the old 8th Chamber has probably one of the most unbelievable coffees. They've been doing it for like 27 years, every Thursday morning. If you're a job seeker, they allow job seekers to come for free. You don't have to be a chamber member. That's what they kind of do. So you just lost train of thought there. So anyway, as you're going through that and you're setting your goals, when people go into a big thing like that, it's usually very intimidating. And they go in and they go, my goodness, I can't possibly, how am I going to meet anybody? And just people wandering around and everything, and where am I even going to start? And it's just especially if it's the first time you've been to a particular event. So what you want to do is you want to downsize that event. You'll see people doing different things. If you watch, you'll see the connectors. You'll see the people that are the magnets. You go to a meeting and Kathy Weaver's there, she's going to have her flock with her. As she walks around, her flock is right there. That's who you want to meet. If somebody's got a flock kind of following around and doing things, or you see that everybody that comes in goes to this person and hugs them and shakes their hand and stuff like that, that's somebody you need to know. You know, if you've never been there. So go over and introduce yourself. If you do that with Kathy Weaver and she finds out this is the first time you're here, she grabs you by the hand, and you got to go meet this person, and she takes off because she's there to help people. That's what you need to be there for, to help people. You're not there to sell nothing. You're there to find out who is who and how can you help. So there's your goals there. Dedication. If you're going to network, you have to be dedicated. You can't just hopscotch all over the place. It's about building relationships, so you need to be there. You need to go out and do the one-on-ones. But if you're at a group and that group's going on, you need to be dedicated to that group. Whether it be your business club, whether it be your local church, whether it be your chamber of commerce, if you're going to go to it, dedicate yourself to the group. Now that means go there on a regular basis. You don't go networking and avoid a business appointment. I mean, we're all there to do the business appointment. But if you can schedule around that, but if I have a client tells me, Bob, I need to see you at X amount of time and right there, and that's right in the middle of it, I'm going to go do the appointment. But other than that, you want to be there on a regular basis. You want to bring guests. Every networking organization, every club, everything that we work on works on guests. Somebody's got to come in the first time. They've got to say, I get out there and all the networking, all the people I know, if they haven't been here, I can't describe this. I can't describe Marine Corps boot camp. I try not to even try to do that very often because it brings back bad memories. But anyway, it's just part of what you got to come in, you invite guests in, and some will stay and some won't. But that's how groups grow, and there's always a natural attrition. There's always people that leave a group. So if the group isn't bringing in guests, if you're not out saying, "Wow, you need to meet this organization, you need to do this, come with me as a guest," and the best thing there is come with me. If you can bring them in, introduce them into the group, and you're helping their comfortability when they go into it. Volunteer. If they need a committee to do this, they need that. If you join the chamber, I think they'll late the chamber's probably got about 2,000 members. Pretty tough. A lot of those members don't ever even go to meetings. Some of them are the highest echelon that their staff goes to meetings, but now they'll go out and work on a committee for the annual dinner, black tie dinner or something like that, and you'll have that CEO that's there to help out that. They're not out networking, they're to help the chamber. So by volunteering, you actually get a chance to meet people that you might not meet if you volunteer within the organization. One of the greatest ways to do. Volunteering also is one of the highest levels of networking you can do. When I was volunteering a lot for the City Union Mission, I met people of power that I would have never met without being involved with the City Union Mission, the people they go. I mean, these are people that can pick up the phone and call Hallmark and get $100,000, or call the Kauffman Center and Foundation and get money, or they can call Bank of America and get, they know the people that are there and the people in power, and you get to know them by the fact that I volunteer, and then other people that volunteer, they're evidently volunteering for that organization because they have some kind of the same passion to actually have that work out. So, that's the thing. Volunteering is incredible for getting out there. And it's a win-win-win situation. You win because you're getting a chance to meet people. They win because you're a volunteer getting in there, and you win because it really feels good. When I go away, I spend a day out volunteering for something and helping some people out. I go home that night, I'm just, yes. I'm lucky enough I was able to do that and help some of those people out that weren't able to. So, kind of talked about a couple of these things as we go through. Don't get caught in your comfort zone. You want to talk to people. You got your friends. If you're doing it right, you're building good friendships. One of my greatest success stories are right over there in the corner. Tim and Ken didn't know each other before they came to biz. Now they probably know too much of each other. So their families know each other, their wives or kids, you know, it's just the whole ball of wax. It's just worked out. So that's kind of the point. If you look at the extreme of going into a networking meeting and shaking hands with somebody and starting that process, if you feel you're going to shake hands with somebody at networking meetings that you probably don't want to connect with, that's one reason kind of talking works out real good. But if you feel a little bit of connection, you set up that one-on-one, your ultimate goal is to make that friend your best friend. Because if all of you stop and think for a minute about your best friends and your inner circle, your family, do they have to stop and think if somebody says, I'm going through a divorce, I need an attorney, the last one told me, sue, get all I want, go to war. Do you know anybody that doesn't talk like that? You know, I got somebody I need to do some investing, do some different things like that, but all these investors are so many saying, does Mary have to think her family is going to say anything? But no, I know who you need to talk to. It's right there, top of mind, and that's what you're trying to do. You're not going to make everybody you network your best friend. But if you can reach closer to that, to appreciate them, have them appreciate you, it's a done deal. And when everybody's got a book of networking contacts, and it's huge, you want to know how you get to the top of that book real quick in their top of mind thinking? Give them a referral. It doesn't matter if they land the business or not. It even makes it better if they do. But if you're meeting somebody, if you go to a networking event with the thought of helping others and trying to find, I guarantee you your business will zoom and not down but up. If you go in and you're a volunteer and you go in and you try to be like Kathy Weaver and make sure somebody is new into the group, meet somebody else they should possibly know, if you kind of look around and you pay attention and you know people, and when you talk to them and you ask the question, you find out who they are, and you remember that and you do that, you'll get that reputation. And when you have that reputation, they want to help you even if you haven't helped them. They know you're a giver, not a taker. They will attract to you. But if you give them one and they end up landing some business, I mean, what is ever? We have something in our genetic powers that actually almost tells us to reciprocate. When somebody does something good for you, don't you just want to help them back? I'm drinking this coffee mug here. Coffee, lunch coffee. That's Alana Mueller. She's one of the top networking ladies in this thing around the Kansas City area. She found that by networking, after leaving Sprint and networking, she set a plan out. And what she did, she said, every Monday through Friday, I'm going to have a coffee, a lunch, and a coffee. And I'm going to find me a job. Well, it took her about 6 months, but her job that she found was president of the Kaufman Association Fast Track. Not bad. Not bad. But she had a plan, she had a goal. She met people, she helped people, she did things. We had a one-on-one. I've known her for quite a while now. I respect her. Her book is incredible. If you haven't read her book, you want to learn a little bit about it, it's a little read, Coffee, Lunch, Coffee. I really recommend it. And so I kind of got to know her, but we had never. So finally, when we get into the holidays, I called her and I asked her, I said, Atlanta, we never have sat down. We never have gotten to know each other on a real good basis. So we scheduled that one-on-one. We had that one-on-one about a month ago. It was after the holidays. We even agreed we'd get through those and then do it in January. And we sat down and we met for about an hour and a half, talking just casually back and forth. And at the end of that meeting, she looked at me and she said, well, Bob, what can I do for you? And I sat there for a minute and I went, well, I'm really trying to do more public speaking, more training. That's kind of my goal with the club here, is to kind of get out and do a little bit more of that. So I know she gets paid, gets flown to places, all expenses paid to speak, does things. She was telling me, we were talking about trying to figure out how much you charge and everything. I said, Bob, it's so crazy. I did one last week, I got paid $400 for. I did one 2 weeks ago, I got paid $4,000 for. You know, so it's real crazy. But anyway, so she told me, I said, well, you probably get offers to do talking. that don't pay or don't pay enough, or you have a conflict. I said, if you come up with one of those, if you just pass it along to me, I'd love that. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from a guy at PMI, Project Managers Institute. They're having their regional meeting here, people coming in from all over the Midwest. They're going to be at the Sheraton out in Corporate Woods, and I'm going to be their keynote speaker. That all came back. The whole theme of the thing is connecting with others. They thought they reached out to Atlanta. Atlanta was busy, and she passed along to me in 2 weeks. Now, I'm dying. Martin and I are dying. This gal's so far above me on the tree, you know. I'm a private, and she's a brigadier general, you know. I mean, so it's just, so trying to get up there. So whatever I could do, but I'll guarantee you, all I got to do is hear one little thing, and I'm going to try to get her a speaking engagement or a training engagement or something like that as a reciprocal payback. And don't tell. Ask questions. Find centers of influence. I talked about that. This is one of the biggest things. Ask questions. If you're there to help people, you can't know how to help them if you're not asking them questions. I see this all the time. It's probably one of the biggest mistakes people make when they meet somebody. I call it verbal vomit. They meet somebody and, hey, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've been around the world, I've done that. Oh, you did that? Well, listen to how I did it. And oh, da 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 da. I see sometimes when people are talking to people like that, you can see the person they are kind of looking around the room like, save me? Can somebody save me? You're not learning anything when you're just standing there talking to somebody about yourself. Everybody wants to know who they're talking to, and everybody wants to know, so hopefully it'll turn around, and by you asking questions, they'll ask questions. You'll see in your white papers I've got on the back of the welcome letter there and everything, there are some questions there that are, how'd you get in the widget business? What's the funniest thing that ever happened to you in your widget business? What do you do? And I don't mean to memorize those. I look at them like they're jokes. You know how you sit in a group of people and somebody says, Laura, tell me a joke. And you go. But if somebody else tells a joke, then all of a sudden you think of a joke. So that's what the list is for. It's to get you thinking. And all you do is ask them questions and get them talking about themselves. They'll think you're the greatest person in the world. Because now you're talking about yourself, but you're being asked to. And then that's good to turn around. Well, Steve, you spent all your life in corporate America, and now you're out here in the great world of network marketing. You're building a business. Why? Then maybe he'll say, well, Bob, why are you involved with the business club? Why are you doing that after 26 years in the food business? What in the world's got you to be out here and be some notable person that can tell us about networking? So the conversation kind of goes back and forth. But this is where you edit yourself, because when they ask you that question, that doesn't give you the right to flip on the switch to verbal vomit. It's to give you the chance to answer the question and go back to them with another question. The best way, the best type of conversation, each of you kind of asking questions and letting them know each other. But if they don't really respond to that, if you're just kind of still asking them about that and getting to know things, they'll think you're the greatest communicator in the world.
Something that I tell folks as far as my shift in my business is precisely that. When I was building my insurance agency business last year, and I would be meeting people, doing one-on-ones, I felt bad after about 15 or 20 minutes because they kept asking me questions about having been a veteran and transitioning into a new career, and how did you do that? You know, what made you go into insurance, you know, having done what you used to do. And it actually made me feel uncomfortable because I was like monopolizing the conversation. I didn't want to keep talking about me, but they kept asking me about themselves because they didn't understand me. And that's kind of where my focus ended up shifting, because after doing so much networking over the course of 10 months, I had come to realize, man, there's so many people who don't get veterans. And for for people who are trying to hire them even worse, because they're the ones who have to make a decision as far as, is this a qualified candidate, do we want them? And having just gone through career switch and everything else, I'm like, I want to improve that. And that part, like the asking questions, it makes you feel good because they're asking the question. But for me, because it happened every single time, it made me uncomfortable because I was talking so much about myself. It wasn't me intentionally vomiting on them, but they just didn't know.
Well, and turn around, and then the way to break that down, though, is when they're kind of doing that, and you kind of catch up, make your answers concise, and then get done with that and ask them a question.
Right.
So it's just trying to stay in control of the thing and do all of that. So, but the other thing is be organic. Don't go in thinking what you need to be. People don't want to do business with who you think you need to be. Someplace along the line, if you do build a relationship with them, you do start doing business, they're going to find out you're not who you said you were anyway. Just be yourself. You're not going to connect with everyone every time. So just connect with the people that like you. Just be you. I'm what you get. That's it. I'm not a college graduate. I got out, I went to work, I've worked my whole life, I've done this and that, I spent a lot of time there, I've been an entrepreneur 4 or 5 times, I've made a lot of mistakes, but that's who I am, and I like who I am, actually, so why would I want to try to be anybody else? So I just go in and I'm just honest, what you see is what you get, and that's what you need to be when you go in, is just be yourself. Makes it a lot easier than trying to remember who you thought you should be. If you're just yourself, It's kind of like that exaggerating, I think we've all done that when we're younger and we're doing things and we're telling a story and we take that story and we exaggerate it just a little bit. Oh, I did it. Well, and that's look at what that did. Look what that did to a career that, this guy was somebody, I watched him all the time. But anyway, that's what can happen when you take that to another extreme. Just be who you are and what you do, and you won't run into a situation like that. So, and don't sell. You're not there to sell anything. Networking is not selling. I know everybody thinks, I've got to get my business. You do. But it's not selling. People will ask you to buy when they like you, when they know what they got. I've been with the same insurance guy since I was 20-some-odd years old, except when I lived in Florida. I would have changed business and gone with T.J. Solander, but at Farm Bureau Insurance, they can't cross the state line, and I live in Missouri. But that guy could have taken me away, and he never tried to sell me one time. All he did was talk about things. I saw his integrity. I saw the things. I thought, this young guy, he's building a business. My guy is one of the top State Farm insurance agents in Kansas City. As much as we're kind of friends, he doesn't need my money anymore. TJ might have, and I would try to actually switch, and he wouldn't let me. So that's what it's about. It's about building that relationship to where you want to do business with the people. They want to do business with you. That doesn't mean you don't talk about your business, you don't do it, but you talk more about the people. How many kids you got? What's your favorite sport? Where do you go on vacations? Those types of things. Get to know that person. Then the next time you see them and they say, well, we really like cruising. Hey, Nancy and I just booked our next cruise. We leave next January. I wish we were out there now, but we'll have to wait. Hopefully it's terrible cold here next January when we're off on our cruise. So anyway, but anyway. So we're just setting that positive motion into effect for next year. I'm going to be thinking that for the whole year, okay? So anyway, but don't sell. Just go in, meet people. They'll know what you're doing. The best way to keep listening is to keep asking questions. Be curious. It's one thing to ask questions, but it's another thing to be curious. Really, people can tell when they say something about them, really. And what was that like? And really, gosh, that's interesting. You're curious, you care. People want, it's just that. So you keep asking questions. Stay focused. I have a terrible time. This is one of my big weaknesses because I know so many people. I'm out networking so much. But when I'm in a room and I'm talking to Laura and we're sitting here talking, while we're talking, I hear the door open up and I do that. And I hear something going on over here and I do this. And she think I'm even, why is he even talking to me? He's paying attention to everything else that's going on in the room. I have to beat on myself to go, no, Laura, I'm talking to you. It doesn't matter who just came in the door and everything, you know, just saying, I'm talking to you. I'm going to stay focused. Be into the moment with the person you're with. You know, don't be off thinking about, well, it's going to warm up today and I'm going to go fishing. No, you're right here. You're not fishing right now. Well, you are. You actually are fishing, but fish right here in the pool you're in. Don't think about that other one. So anyway, be curious, be focused. This is another acronym, FORM. And what I was just talking about, if you ask them about family, occupation, recreation, and message. What's your passion? You know, what really tricks your trigger when you get going? If you hear about something, my passion is the military vets coming back. Nancy's son's a 4-time veteran, twice in Afghanistan, twice in Iraq. And I've seen the true close-up results of coming back and having some of the troubles our veterans have right up close. So I got a passion about that. So people that know me and know that, they know that's one of my passions. I have another passion called Harley Davidson. And that's a great passion too. It's a little too chilly out there today for riding my Harley, but that's it. Well, I know, heated gloves, they got the whole bit, boy, if you want to be. There's a guy. So anyway, that's what you want to do. You want to know this person, getting to know them. How can you help them?
Bob, I got a question. On this one, when you say message, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? When you're talking to somebody, you're asking them what their message is.
Well, and that's what do they deem important? What is their message to life? What's a little bit more than, you know, what charities do you really focus on? What do you think? Is it child rearing? Is it, you know, raising the kids? Is it taking care of a husband? What is your message? What's so important to you? In your business, what's your thing in your business? Why are you doing what you do? Are you doing it because you can make a lot of money? Are you doing it because you can help a lot of people? Are you doing it because it gives you the freedom to be and go like you want to, you know, and not have to punch a clock at 8 o'clock in the morning and get off at 5 o'clock and be part of that thing? What is your message? Why do you do what you do? And that's what you want to find out from people you're talking to. Why do they do what they want to do? Why have you spent, 26 years, something like that, that you've spent in the flower business, you know? What got you doing that way back when? And if anybody didn't see, Martin, you should show off your dozen roses back there for everybody that was brought into you by Elliot today. So, and I'll tell you what, if you want roses and you want them in the right price and you want one of the biggest, friendliest guys you've ever met, right there he is. Roses only. And what's your new ventures kind of?
Oh, Floral Smart.
Floral plant. And look back there. Look at those roses. Nancy used to work for an eye clinic over at 75th and Antioch, Kansas City Eye Clinic. And in that eye clinic, they have nothing but a whole bunch of women techs and all that kind of stuff in there. And when she was still working on Valentine's Day, Elliot took in his roses. And I think I got a little preferential treatment there. That's kind of what I talked about earlier, you know. Because I'll tell you what, this bouquet that he took in for her was the bouquet. There must have been 15 bouquets in there, but everybody talked about the one that Elliot brought in. Just a plug for you, Elliot. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
So anyway, that's what... This is the old standard. I know you've heard it. People do business with people they like, they trust, and they respect. So that's what you're trying to do. That's why being authentic. That's why when you say you're going to do something, do it. You would not believe how many times I meet people out there. They know I'm a professional networker. They know I do things. They know I know a million people. And then they don't follow up with me. You know, there's different ways of following up, and there are more important ways depending on what the degree of follow-up should be. But you just need to trust them and respect them, and the trust gets built. But when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it. If you don't, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Let's get together. I'll send you an email. We'll set up a one-on-one. If you say it, do it. If you don't think you can have time to do it, then don't say it. Surprise me. Send me an email and say, Bob, I really enjoyed meeting you at the club the other day. I thought your presentation was unbelievably outstanding. And I'd like to get together and know more about you and how you do what you do and everything. And surprise me and do that, and we'll meet for a one-on-one. So, like you, trust you, and respect you. That's when you get their book. Because see, they say each one of us know an average of 250 people. Now some of those are your postman and maybe your barber or different thing, which barber and hairstylist, look at all the people they know. But you just kind of get out there and get out there and meet them and do what you need to do there. I lost my train of thought again. Well, I call it 1 + 1 = 3, kind of a tagline I had for biz to biz. And this is where your relationships pay off. The door is open for referrals. That 250 people I just talked about, you're not going to get to those 250 people, especially if some of those 250 people is your person you're talking to's book of business. They're not going to risk themselves, because what do you do when you refer somebody? You put yourself on the line, don't you? You're looking at one of your clients or telling somebody, you need to talk to Elliot and get some roses from him because he's the best. They're not going to do that if they ordered roses and they came in and they were wilted, they didn't have right, they weren't really pretty, they didn't last very long. You know, then all of a sudden they're calling you, man, you told me to go to that Elliot guy. What's wrong with you? So you're not going to get that book. Your guy, that's where that trust, that's where that thing comes in, where you have made it. Then now, at this meeting, let's say there's 20 people here, and everybody knows 250 people. How many people did you meet? I don't have my calculator. That's too big a number. Okay? But that's what it's about. It's about out. If you say, I can't believe how many times people have come up to me and they sit there and they see that when I had B2B, and they go, oh, well, and are you the boss? And yeah, I'm the owner. And how many employees do you have? Me, myself, and I. And I just watch their face go, okay. I sell phone plans. I'm not going to do anything. This guy's probably a home-based business. I'm not going to do anything. And they walk away. Well, I know a few more than 250 people. Build a relationship with me, and you can't tell what kind of business you might get. Don't judge. You're not there just to sell that person you're talking to. You're there to build a relationship, and if it's somebody you like, you'll build that relationship and business will come to you. And if you help that person, it'll come to you faster. So that's where they are, the result of effort combined with time. And I've sat here and talked about everything is all about building relationships. You ask me about networking, I'll say it's all about building relationships. I'll hammer that, hammer that, hammer that. But at the same time, don't give up on the fact of random chance. Sometimes timing is everything. Quick little story at the Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce. I signed up a gal that broke away. She'd spent many years in corporate America as a public relations director. She decided she could do that for herself. So she broke away, and she was a friend of a friend, so I brought her into the chamber as a new member. She came to a luncheon. That same day, somebody else came to a luncheon. His name was Mike. He came down from Wisconsin. He decided he was going to put on one of the biggest events in Fort Lauderdale, and he's going to call it the National Air and Sea Show on Fort Lauderdale Beach. That right now draws more people to a single event than anything else that goes on in the United States. In a 2-day deal, they'll bring anywhere from 1.5 million, 2 million people to Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's so big that the hotels are booked out with generals and colonels, and recruiting goes through the roof when they do that Air and Sea show down there. The military actually uses it for training. The air base we have out here, they literally send their stealth bombers and fighters. They take off from this air base and are scheduled to fly across the deal to show off their thing at a precise time from the Midwest. So they're just full. They always have the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels come in, but they also have the helicopters coming in and Navy SEALs jumping from 100 feet in the air and landing in the water and making an assault on a beach right in front of everybody. It's amazing. Well, they attended the same meeting for the first time together. And she went from a startup company to a 6-figure income entrepreneur, being at the right place at the right time. So it can be the right handshake. And that's why I say you need to go visit. You need to go visit other things. You hear somebody tells you something. Carl, you go to something, you tell somebody else, hey, I went to this thing down on Wednesdays down in the plaza. It was a great breakfast at 8 or something like that. What a great group of people. Can I go? Can I go as your guest? You may never go again, but don't give up the random chance, and you might meet somebody that you hook with a little bit and do something later. So even though it is all about building relationships, luck can always play in. But most of the time, it's an effort of time, effort of due diligence, and going through it. Now here's where I talk about volunteering. I mean, it's a gift to the community. And it can really, really improve your networking. An old timer, his name's Art. And he was a financial guy, and he's actually the guy that saved me to the first networking event I went to. Because the first time I went to Fort Lauderdale Chamber, it was an event down at the Holiday Inn on the top floor right at the beach. Must have been 80, 90 people there, and I walked in and I knew everybody there knew everybody but me. And I slunk over to the corner not knowing what to do. Went and got a little bit of food, and now over in the corner and I'm eating, and I'm standing like this, not knowing, what in the world am I going to do now? I've been a food man all my life. What am I going to do? And Art walked up to me and said, I don't think I've seen you before. No, sir. Haven't. First time here. Yeah. What do you do? I'm with an advertising agency, and we do everything you can think of, and da-da-da-da. I didn't know about the 30-second infomercial or anything. And Art took me out in the crowd and rescued me. I gave Art 2 really good clients during the time that I knew him, just from the fact that he rescued me. So if you want to be somebody's hero, you're in a networking thing, you see somebody kind of standing in the corner and has that fear in their eyes, you want to be their hero? Go over and introduce yourself to them. Find out what they do. Take them out into the crowd and get them going. Because once you get it going, everybody kind of loosens up once you kind of get talking to people. But a lot of people walk in, they're freaked out. Volunteering just helps you out with getting to know people, getting out there, people get to know that you're a volunteer. Again, what you do on a regular basis builds your persona. So if you're a volunteer, they know, everybody at B&B knew that I helped City Union Mission. You know, we had, I don't know how many times we sponsored, well, 3 times, I do know. We sponsored the Family Center's luncheon 3 times, and we did the Veterans Day dinner down at the City Union Mission for the men's section, you know, and we did that because they knew how much I loved my veterans. So they gave me the opportunity. The biggest night they do every year is this veteran thing they do, and they take everybody down to the chapel and they pray and stuff. But we were able to go in, we decorated the place up, red, white, and blue all over the whole dining room and things, and it was an amazing event. I'll never forget it. So anyway, that's what you can do, and that's who you can meet by volunteering. Raise your visibility, create stronger bond with others who believe as you do. Whatever it is, whatever nonprofit, it's your church, whatever it is, you have that instant bonding because you care about the same thing they care about. So they already like you. It's all about getting the people like you. So anything you can do. That's what we kind of do at the club with our associations that fill in of common interest. We have a golf club, we have a tennis club, we have the the American Warriors. We have the Nonprofit Economic Council trying to raise money. So people are involved. They get involved in these different associations that we have, and there's already a start of a bonding. So we just try to help everybody have the opportunity to meet. I haven't ever told anybody if they come in and become a member of the club that they're going to do outrageous business. I haven't told anybody they're going to double their business, they're going to make 10% more money, that their business is going to flourish. What we do is we're going to give you the opportunity to meet the people that can do that. But it's really up to you to do that. And if you're networking, then do that correctly. Take some of these things. This is like food. You know, you chew it up, you keep some of it, you don't keep other, you know, it's just kind of whatever you like. There's sometimes, one of the things I talk about networking tips is I always talk about get to a meeting early. Because when you get, like if I go to a chamber, the thing tomorrow starts at 9 o'clock. I'll be there at 8:30. And following Ken's great leadership, I will be there before most of the people get there, and I will start the networking process with those people while it's still kind of intimate. Because in a half an hour, there's going to be 100 people there. And everybody's going to be grabbing everybody. But for in the beginning, I'm there, and even the chamber staff. I get to know the chamber staff a little bit better. Pretty soon they get to know, well, Bob's always here early. Hi, Bob, how you doing? Because they're meeting me while there aren't hardly anybody there. So maybe they don't know the other people quite as well if they're getting there always late. So I always try to get there at least, what Ken, a half hour early? Something like that?
That's what I've been told.
Okay, okay. We've covered this quite a bit already, but this is just so important. If you really go in, if you help enough people, I mean, that's biblical law, not to talk religion or anything like that, but when you give, you will receive. And they say normally if you give enough, you receive back 10 times what you give. You know, it's universal law. It's just throw it out there, you give, you will get. And that's where the volunteering comes in, that's where all that other stuff. We talked about that, sincere, that goes along with trust. People can tell when you're sincere and when you're not. You know, don't think everybody's just living in a little bubble and they don't recognize somebody when they're really kind of exaggerating or kind of not being sincere, and they're thinking, oh, how much money does he have to spend on my product? You know, if you're really wanting to help people, you really want to do that, be sincere with the help, go in with that. Gracious and thankful. I mean, that's part of follow-up. That's saying if somebody gives you a referral, even if it doesn't pan out, my goodness, be thankful for that. Be appreciative. You know, it's just don't take any of that for granted. Really make an effort to say thank you. That's when a handwritten note as a follow-up is the most powerful. I meet too many people too much to sit down and write handwritten notes at the end of every week on how nice it was to me. So I use email. I shoot in, hope you enjoyed our talk, hope I really enjoyed meeting you. Please come back. Is there anything I can do with that? That's a nice little thing I shoot out in an email to almost everybody I meet. If I got a back of the cards, everybody in that I put in my pocket that I felt necessary to do that will get a follow-up email from me, usually within 2 days. I usually don't try to do it. Sometimes I could go home and send it out that afternoon, but I don't want everybody to think I can go home and take a nap. So I don't usually do it the same day. I'll usually do it that morning or something of the next day and do that kind of thing. But I do follow up, appreciate, thankful. But if somebody gives you a chunk of business, be thankful. Elliot just a minute ago talked about how you can look at what you can do for sending flowers to somebody. Everybody likes to feel good. Somebody gave you a piece of business and you sent them flowers to the audience. And yes, guys can send flowers to guys. It isn't a love thing, it's an appreciation. Or a box of candy, or something like that, you know, that you do. You know the person's a huge sports buff, Take them in, thank them with a baseball, an autographed baseball or something, you know. That'd work. Compliment. You want to break the ice with somebody? Compliment them on how they look. Compliment them on you heard that their business, that they really helped somebody out. Everybody likes to be complimented. So think about it. When you're in there and you're thinking, you want an icebreaker. Wow, Emma, you always look great. You know, and she does. Always comes in here. Just perfect. You know, you just do it. So little things like that can help out a lot. Ken, you try hard. And as I've told you, part of networking, these two guys right here, I'd do anything for either one of them. They're just unbelievable. Number one habit. The number one habit is follow-up. If you don't take anything away from today's talk, take this one thing away. It just adds. They talk about in sales, it takes so many touches before you actually get to the deal normally. When you're following up, it's another touch. If you follow up right and in the correct way and say the right things, it's a warm touch. Just makes that process. Your name becomes apparent to them again. Even if you just met them and talked to them a little while, if there was something there that you felt there was a connection, shoot me an email. Great meeting you. Hope to see you at the next one. You know, just to let them know you recognize them, that you were there, and you know, follow up who, where, when. And the number one's a handwritten note again. There are times, that is, you need to sit yourself down, take the time, spend a couple bucks, and buy a card and send a thank you note or something like that to somebody when they've done good things for you. Another way could be a one-on-one. That's where the real process begins. You meet them, you're kind of interested in them, you call and you set up a one-on-one. Now, we're all busy. We all have businesses to run, so you can't be running from one networking meeting to another networking meeting and then to 10 one-on-ones that week, right? Although somehow I seem to meet people that seem to be able to do that. But, right, Steve? So, anyway, but that is the true form. That is it. That is the one-on-one. The one-on-one should really kind of get to know somebody. But be careful. On the one-on-one, set yourself a time limit. If you're going to have an hour, make it an hour. You know, you may have the time to sit there and talk for an hour and a half or 2 hours, like Emma and I did when we first met. We just, military and everything else, we just went on forever. But that's not always a good thing to do. That person may not have the courage to, hey, look, I really got to go. You know, so I got an hour, sit down, do your meeting, get your questions. If you need to, say, you know, we need to follow this up sometime. Let's get together again. Don't try to sit there and go on and on and on. And that's what they are. They're not selling opportunities. They're discovery opportunities. You're there to figure out, how can I help this person? Who is this? Do I like this person? You know, one thing about the old verbal vomit, you stand there for half an hour and you just tell everybody about this, how great you are, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and everything's just wonderful. And so all of a sudden, you get an opportunity to do business. And you go, wow, I wish I wasn't doing business with this person. Maybe if I'd asked a few more questions, I might have learned that I don't really want to do business with this person. I don't know how many of you ever fired clients. I've been known to. You know, life's too short. I don't have to put up with that kind of stuff. I'm going to take it, even in the food business. I didn't do it. So just find out. Talk to them. Make it casual. Now here's the little things. I mentioned getting to the place early. Really is powerful. You know, when you're going, even if it's a little group, if you're there early to greet the people as they come in, to do the thing, I've been asked, I've gone to chamber events before, I'm there early, I've been asked to help out, move a table, do this or that. Hey, I'm volunteering, I'm helping out, I'm helpful. Boy, Bob's always here. If we need him, he'll do this. If he wants to stand be a greeter at the door, he'll do that for us. Bob's here. Okay? That's part of being early. It really sets you apart. When you get there on time, which I call is late, then it's already happening. You know, you're walking into humdrum. People are already going. Business is already being exchanged, all that kind of stuff, and you're walking in going, better get going. You know, get there early. It's one of the, that's a good habit to get into. Some of you are going to say, ain't no way.
I really tried.
Yeah, you got me here at 8 o'clock this morning, and that was pretty good. Okay. Name badges. If you're going to be networking, and it's going to be part of your marketing plan, go out and get yourself a name badge made. You know, this one here, logo and everything on it, cost me like 13 bucks. You know, you can get one without a logo on it for about $8. You just want to put the company name, do that on there. But if you do a logo, they have to do the artistic thing, make a plate and all that kind of stuff. Very inexpensive. You should have 2 or 3 made. I don't know about you, but I all the time am losing something. I've got my business card little thing with my name tag in it someplace. But where that someplace is, I don't know. So the one that's in my glove compartment works. You know, so I always have a name badge. It's permanent. It's got a magnet on it. It sticks. Doesn't fall off on the floor. You can read it. Doesn't worry about my handwriting not being very good. Doesn't need to worry about me trying to write my name and the Business Club of Overland Park or whatever like that on there. There it is. The other thing about it is, I look around the room, some people have it on their left-hand side. Your name tag should be on your right-hand side. Little things. When you shake hands with somebody, you present yourself to them. They can still see it on your left-hand side, just that little bit of difference. It's that little bit of difference of them presenting yourself. Plus the fact being how that's kind of coached and taught at almost every networking thing, chamber. You go to any kind of chamber event, you see any kind of people that are in the networking almost all the time, you'll know that because they're wearing on the right-hand side. When you see somebody wearing on the left-hand side, you're going, oh, they haven't gotten word yet.
So that's somebody to reach out now.
Well, that's exactly right. And you can feel free to tell them, say, hey, you know, there's a little bit. Is that going to mean you're going to make more money because you wear your name tag on your right-hand side? No. I even had a guy at one networking thing, I did that. I told him. And he actually almost got in an argument with me. And I said, well, I'm not trying to argue. He was actually telling me, oh, that's so, I've seen that, I've heard that, that's a bunch of bullwinky. For him, put it on your forehead if you want. I don't care.
I've actually been in networking groups where I watch and I observe where they have the name tag, because some groups do it here and some groups do it there. And it depends on the president, where has he put his, right? Wherever the big dog is, you know. If they put it over there, everybody else puts it over there. I said, well, I'm going to be like them and put it over here. Who cares what side it's on? But it makes a big difference when you get there.
Something that is interesting to me is I always put my name on my right side. Part of it is because in the service, when we went to a uniform where our our tapes were Velcro, you wanted to take those off before you threw it into the wash because otherwise they would end up curling. And, well, you had to remember which side do you put U.S. Army and which side do you put your name. And prior to us switching to the Velcro tapes, they were just sewn on. Well, I ended up remembering it this way. The organization being on the left side because it's above your heart, and anything that is personal to you, the individual, on your right. So the name, your name, was on the right. The name of your organization, if you were Army, Air Force, whatever service, was on the left.
That's a good way to remember.
Otherwise, you'd have it wrong because it's Velcro. You had to put it back on after you pulled it out of the washer.
The other thing is, when you go on networking, just try to remember to be neat and presentable. I'm kind of an old school kind of guy, and I've always kind of had a thing about getting dressed up. So I just do that. 2 reasons I do it. Number one, most people don't anymore. It's become a casual world. So by me always being, if I'm doing some work, I might not, but 90% of the time you'll see me at least in a sport coat and a tie. I do that because that's my little way of standing out. How many insurance people have you met? How many different financial advisors have you met? How many other business people have you met? And everybody starts looking the same. Mickey, the cotton candy man, those of you laughing know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the sweetest guys ever, and that's his tagline, the sweetest guy in town, has a room full of crazy hats. And he wears those crazy hats. Now you can be going someplace and have been in a room of 500 people, and you can mention something about the cotton candy man, and they go, I don't know him. Well, he's the guy that's got the funny, oh, him! He's known, he stands out with everybody because of his crazy hats. Back in the old days when everybody used to wear ties, I wore Jerry Garcia ties. I had all these really wild and crazy colors and all that kind of stuff, and that was kind of my mark there, was my crazy ties. Now I just try to dress up, and then I heard something about wearing crazy socks. So sometimes I try to wear crazy socks. And you wouldn't believe how many times, especially from the female side of the world, that make comments on my crazy socks. Okay, so it's just, but it's a way to be remembered. You're trying to kind of be remembered, kind of doing things, but you're also, I don't care if you're a plumber or whatever, you don't want to look like you just came out from underneath the house. If you're wearing boots, you're wearing, I know different jobs create different things. When people are networking, they have a different attire. But try to always be neat and presentable. Don't wear things with holes in them. Don't, just try to be neat and presentable. It will help you out in your thing. Professionally designed business cards, we kind of talked about that earlier. That's your thing. You're handing yourself out. You're presenting yourself. They're going to take that back to their deal, and then I used to save them. I finally read a thing, they said enter it in your computer in your database and throw it away. So I had this box, it was about this big, full of business cards. That was the greatest day of my life. I dumped all those cards out from years and years ago that I'd been saving for whatever reason. So it goes into my database, I've got it, the card goes away. This isn't as important today because we've all got our hip, we've got our calendar, we've got our different things on us. But I always tell everybody that, I laid my pen down a little bit ago, I've got a little pad of paper. I almost have something and a pen in my pocket, just in case somebody says something. Well, here, let me give you my address or something like that. Okay, here. Do that. I know I have to go, oh, what? Steve got a pen, you got a pen. Who's got some paper? Yeah, you're prepared. You went this prepared, right? You're on the network. You might get some information from somebody. So you have a pen and paper with you all the time. It could be just a 3x5 note card, because you're probably not going to need a whole pad of paper. The 3x, it's just something to write that down on. Now, I know the phone takes away. You can even make a recorded message in it and all that kind of stuff now, but and if you do it that way, great. I'm old salt. Networking is 24/7. If you're going to make networking your way of doing it, you need to be ready, have your mindset to be ready that you can network anywhere. I say that and some people go, nah, Bob, you can't network anywhere. I say, well, tell me. Tell me someplace I can't network. Well, you can't network at a funeral. Yeah, you can. Well, you can't network at a wedding. Yeah. I can network anywhere there's me and another person. And especially when there's a lot of people. As long as you're respectful of the situation you're in. You wouldn't, at a funeral, want to go up to the widow and say, hey, if you don't have your financial things in order because your husband just died, I can help you. But if one of the widow's best friends is talking to you and happens to mention the fact that, boy, she's in a tough time. Really, she doesn't really know anybody. Her husband took care of all the financial work. She has no idea what they're doing, how they're doing it. And to that person, you sit there and said, sometime if you're talking to her, here's my card. I'll consult with her. I'm not after any business, but if I can help her out, I'd be more than happy to help her out. You know? Do it with respect. You can network anywhere. You can network in a line at a grocery store, you know, whatever it is. Just know that if something comes up, I love freaking people out on elevators. Because everybody gets into an elevator, and you got 8 people there, and they're all, I love to say, well, I hope this thing doesn't fall like the last time. You know, anything, just to break. I don't like that on an elevator when everybody's standing there and nobody, you know, just think about, you see all these different movies and stuff, and if the elevator does get stuck, so all of a sudden everybody's best friend, right? So right now you're going to help. You're going to help anybody get out of that roof or whatever it's going to be, so why not say hi? You know? I was at Home Depot the other day, and I was going through, and this guy's in there, and he's got stuff laid out all over the floor. And he's got a list, and he's looking all over, and I'm kind of had to step in between him and do that, and found out that he was a home fixer-upper guy, you know, and he's working on a project for somebody. Now, here's how a network, so I said, really? You know, I've got some projects at my house, and I'm not a fixer-up guy, you know. The other day, I put a new faucet on our sink, and we went out to dinner. You know, I mean, that was just unbelievable. I don't do it. I actually looked this guy, I actually told him, I said, well, do you have a business card on you? No, I got some out in the truck. I said, well, you don't have to go out there. I gave him my business card. I said, get in touch with me. I really am thinking about doing some projects around the house, little ones, you know, just be a day's worth of work or something like that. You know, he never called me. You know, but you can network anywhere, you know, so that's the thing. Just learn. And then the other thing, if you're going to do this, there's tons of references, tons of books out there about networking processes, connecting with someone every time. I've actually brought my library that I really like is in our library in there. We do that for everybody. You can take a book out, bring a book in, donate books, whatever you want to do. It's kind of a process. But read about it. You'd be surprised. I mean, if you go to Barnes & Noble and you're talking about business, you'll see as much as you want to see. Ivan Meisner himself, that's the founder of BNI, has published, I don't know, 6 books anyway on the art of networking. One of them was great. I loved it. So read about it, learn about it, not just this little bit. I'm only skimming across the top of some pretty important things, but books. The Coffee Lunch Coffee, what a great little read. It really is. She was networking for a different reason than most of us are. She was networking to find a job. Well, you can network to find anything. There are some people I've met out there, believe it or not, that are networking to find a partner. They even call some of them a meat market or some of the networking things you go to. I've heard of a couple of them. They're evening type things, and that's what almost everybody's there for. But anyway, so you can network for just about anything. Study as you have today. And as I said before, I've given you a lot of information today. It's just like food. Take it in, chew it up, keep what you want. What fits your personality? What do you like to do? How do you want to build your business? How much time do you allocate to your business? That's all up to you. All I've done is try to bring together some thoughts about when you go out there, how to really increase the results that you'll get from going out and marketing yourself in this wonderful world of networking. Any questions?
Where did you get the name back just now?
A couple different places. We have, Martin, who's the member in the club that does? Okay. If you want to get with Martin, he'll give you a name. I had a guy that came to B2B all the time, Basher Trophies and Awards, that did a couple for me. He's a great, great guy. Is that where you got yours? So. Now, the final thing that I'm going to produce here, most everybody came to this thing today for free. I understand you RSVP'd online and already paid. I'll give you your money back. Once that kind of goes through, I'll do that. What I'm going to do is, because most of everybody I met out there. The coffee club people are here. We sponsored this event. Tim and Ken are members of the coffee club. Steve, we meet here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Very casual, round table type discussions, getting to know each other a little bit better. So you're welcome to come back, check us out then. When I was down at AUSA the other day, I offered, as I got up, for the veterans or anything, that anybody that was at that breakfast could come for free. I stood up at the end of the meeting wondering if anybody was going to come up to you. Next thing I did, I had a group around me. So I'm not going to charge anybody for today. This is a freebie. If you think that this was 2 hours worth of your time, tell a friend. That's all I ask for your payment for coming today. If you know an organization that's looking for a speaker, remember my name. I have cards on the table. I have cards in my pocket. I'm willing to talk to any association. I'm actually, the one I told you about, Atlanta Mueller's, it's going to be around 200 people that I'm going to be talking in front of as a keynote speaker at Sheraton. Those are the types of things that I love to do. I would like to make money doing this at some point in time, but I'm not somebody out to do this for money. I've been retired for almost 12 years now because I've been doing this. If this is working, glory, hallelujah. I love getting up every day. You know, it's just part of what I do. So me having to go to work hasn't happened for so long. So going out, but I would love to make a little bit of money to pay for that cruise that we booked in January, okay? So I thank you very much for coming out there. I thank you for donating and giving up 2 hours of your time and the trust and confidence in me that you come in and you learn something. If you didn't, please let me know. If you did, please tell a friend. Pass the word along to anybody that you do. And thank you so much for coming out today.